30 times. Ten times more. Two times more. Letting go and stop.
My first question is, we had you on a couple years ago, right after you had a stroke, which was, you almost died, right? Your wife was in the car with you. I think you were driving.
I was driving.
Your wife essentially said, pull over because something was wrong. And you were like, no, everything's fine. As you were like, falling over or something. And she essentially saved her life and your life by stopping and recognizing it. You went to the hospital. You had a stroke, and it's been a 2-year recovery. I saw you last time, and I was really sad of your physical well-being, because I want to see you healthy. But you've had a pretty positive attitude, I think, in the last couple of years. I'm curious, what has been the biggest lesson for you with going through a massive stroke, where it's hindered your relationships, where it's hindered your physical activity, your ability to work on the things you're passionate about? What's been the big lessons?
Well, I'm a very driven person, so I wasn't going to let this defeat me, because the alternative was losing hope and becoming suicidal, and I wasn't going to let that happen. Also, I knew I had another book that I really, really wanted to write, so I had to keep living, and I was in a coma for a while, and things were a little bit touch and go during that, and I feel like there was something willed inside of me unconsciously that kept me alive. The other weird thing is, I spent a lot of my time alone, swimming, hiking, writing. It just so happened, just by coincidence, that I was driving when my wife was there. And so I have a feeling that I kind of almost was ready to have my stroke once she was there. I can't say that for sure. These are, weird kind of psychic, almost kind of thoughts. But I felt like there was some willpower in me that was keeping me alive so I could keep going. But the main lesson was, it's been a struggle. I can't say it's been easy. I can't lie and say, I've just figured it all out and I'm this incredible superhuman being. I've had moments where I've cried. I've had moments where I felt like giving up. It's like a daily struggle. And other people, I know a lot of people in this world suffer. They have it a lot worse than I do. I have a comfortable life. I have a lot of money. I have my books, etc. But on the level of my body, just every day has been a struggle. I wake up. Can I walk? Will I fall? Can I hold this in my hand? It's so dependent on other people. I'm a very independent person. So I've had to really, really work on myself and really develop a lot of patience, which I don't have. And then
Thirty times. 10 times more. Two times more. Letting go and stop.
The thing is, when you get an illness like this or something happens like that, the natural thing is just to sort of wait it out and wait until your body recovers. And people said I would have a full recovery 2 years down the line or so. So the tendency would be just to let it go and let time take its healing process. But I wouldn't let that. I don't know why, but I was like, no, I'm gonna work out every single day. I'm gonna do therapy 2 or 3 hours a day. I bought a special bicycle because I can't do a normal bicycle. It's a recumbent bike where you sit down. Man, it's like the hardest thing. You have to get up these incredible hills and like 80-year-old grandmothers are whizzing by me on their bicycle.
This is outdoors.
Outdoors in Griffith Park, yeah.
Wow.
But I'm just determined to beat the thing. And sometimes it beats me. So every day it's like a battle, you know, it's like a boxing match. Who's gonna win? But I'm not gonna give up. I just keep trying and trying. I'm going to see a new therapist. I'm working on new exercises. I'm working on different parts of my body. I'm trying to build strength in certain muscles so I can start walking normally. Because as you know, working out, swimming and hiking and bicycling, that was like my main way of de-stressing. I loved it. I loved being out in nature. I loved being alone with my thoughts. And to have that ripped away, it was like having, you know, part of your whole body taken away from you. So, you know, I'm pretty relentless. That's my lesson. I didn't give up.
Which book of yours that you've written and the lesson in that book have you had to lean back on more than any other lesson or principle from all the books? How is it, which one is like really, that's interesting that I wrote about this 5 years ago and now I really need to apply it?
Well, the last 3 books would be more applicable. So there's the book with 50 Cent, The 50th Law, which is about fear and overcoming your fear. And in fact, the last chapter was about the fear of death in that book. And, you know, I've had to deal with a lot of fear. You don't know what it's like. Every day you're walking and you don't know the next moment you're gonna fall. I've had several falls. And falls are literally what will do you in. So it's constant fear, and I just won't let it affect me. I push past my limits. I do things that I'm not supposed to do. I take hikes, even though I have to hold on to somebody to do it. People think I'm crazy. So I had to deal with my fear. Mastery taught me that repetition, doing something over and over and over again, like any kind of skill, learning a skill like basketball, whatever, leads to something. So every day, just using my left hand instead of my right hand, forcing myself and slowly getting used to it, that taught me a lot.
Thirty times. Ten times more. 2 times more. Letting go and stop.
And then the laws of human nature, you know, one thing that when you have a stroke, it affected the right side of my brain, which destroyed the left side of my body. And supposedly when the right side of your brain is damaged, it tends to make you more emotional. And I've definitely become more emotional. So I've had to learn to control some of my anger, some of my impatience, some of my frustration. And obviously the laws of human nature are a lot about that. And the last chapter is about having to deal with death. And so with all of the things I'm dealing with and all the kind of, God damn it, why can't I do that? I have to keep reminding myself I'm alive. I'm gonna write another book. The birds are out there chirping. It could have been a much different story. Last month, 6 weeks ago, was the 2nd year anniversary of the stroke. And I had this thought, this could have been the 2nd anniversary of my death.
Wow.
And what people would be like gathering together, or maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. But you know, it would be like the anniversary of my death, but it's not. I've been given a second lease and I have to think about that every single day.
Isn't that crazy to think that when you die, hopefully people will think nice things about you, and every year they'll get together and say, hey, let's tell a nice story about our friend or that we lost, hopefully. But isn't that crazy to think that someday we're gonna die, and someday no one's gonna remember us?
It's a weird thought. And it's also like, I wrote about this, I can't remember, I think it was in the 50th law, where enough time passes, nobody remembers you.
No one.
200 years from now, no one will even know who Lewis Howes was or Robert Greene, you know? And so all traces of you are gone. Yeah, it's a weird thought. And
you might be in a history book or something, maybe.
Maybe, if the planet is still here.
It's here,
yeah, that's true. But this is sort of what my next book is about. You have to be able to take every kind of negative experience or emotion in life and find a way to transmute it into something healthy and positive. So how do you take that thought and turn it into something life-affirming and productive? And so my way is, okay, that very well may be, I better make the most of what the time that I have, because in 200 years, I'm nothing, right? Also, through my books, I will have a life that will go on. I will have a legacy. Work on that. Think about people reading you in the future. So I use it, any kind of negative thing. This is sort of the idea of amor fati that I've talked about in my books. Any bad thing that fate brings you, you have to find a way. It's like alchemy. Using the philosopher's stone, you transform that into gold through a mental process.